As part of Ferrari Fridays, William Ross from the Exotic Car Marketplace will be discussing all things Ferrari and interviewing people that live and breathe the Ferrari brand. Topics range from road cars to racing, drivers to owners, as well as auctions, private sales, and trends in the collector market.
Welcome, everyone, back to the Ferrari Marketplace. I'm your host, William. In this podcast, we're going to discuss my little trip I took out west to Cali and checking out a couple private collections, one from Mr. Bruce Meyer and another David Sydorick. Had some outstanding stuff. David, you probably don't know so much, but Bruce Meyer, not the buggy guy, just to kind of clarify, because I got asked that a little bit. But no, Bruce has got a phenomenal collection, and he's like king of the car world, so to speak, and on the board and one of the founding members of the Peterson Museum. An awesome guy, super, super nice guy to talk with, whatnot. He will take the time to speak with you and not kind of dismiss you like some other individuals or people that have a lot of money and have a lot of cars, and unless you're on their level, they will really basically ignore you and dismiss you. But Bruce is a fantastic guy. If you ever have the opportunity to cross paths with him, definitely go up and just say hello, introduce yourself, and he'll talk to you for a little bit. Again, so super nice guy. So, but anyways, here at the Ferrari Marketplace, we talk about everything Ferrari, everything that's going on, events, cars, prices, auctions, whatever we got out there, what we can discuss, history, going on. I want to drop one on Luigi Chinetti. I'm going to do one here on him pretty soon, but actually I am headed down to Amelia Island tomorrow, so it won't be till next week. So I'm not back till Monday night. I'm actually going to road trip it down to this one because airline tickets were absolutely insane. So I'm just going to hoof it down. It's only about a 10, 11-hour drive. So no biggie. Can handle that. Done it many times before. So, but anyways, also just to drop a little mention, again, I'm just starting and learning this podcast stuff and how this all works and what to do and how to get it organized and get out there. So if it's a little choppy and not up to some people's standards, I apologize. I'm working on getting there. One thing I figured out, it's better to have better, I won't say notes, but structure, kind of an outline when I talk about, because I have ADD real bad, and I'll start going off on tangents and whatnot, but that really helps quite a bit. So I'm just trying to, get this thing organized and, talk about things that people want to hear about. And also, if you have something you want me to talk about or you have a discussion topic, shoot me an email. It's william@theferrarimarketplace.com. Shoot me that. Let me know what I talk about. And hey, maybe we get you on the show too, because that's another thing you want to try and figure out. I know I can probably do it through, I guess if I have a Zoom with someone, I can record that and do it, but then take this, I don't know. I said, I'm not the biggest computer technological, whatever, how you want to pronounce it, genius, the most apt at it. So I kind of just figure things out, and sometimes I do the wise thing. I just have my 16-year-old daughter come and help me do a lot of this stuff. So she's a whiz at all this stuff, and I'm just not. So, and again, with my ADD, I have a hard time sitting and concentrating and trying to put something together after more than like 10, 15 minutes. I just kind of go bonkers. I get a little stir crazy. But anyways, enough back about me. So back to our discussion topic today and what I'm going to discuss. So last week, which was Friday, was it February 25th, I think it was, 26th. Let's see here. It was actually the 25th. I got on a plane and sent myself out to California for some Ferrari events at the Peterson. Now, I also squeezed in a few other things while I was out there, too, since I had time. And it kind of worked in my favor having the difference in time change. Now, obviously, I'm in Ohio. That's California, so there's a 3-hour time difference. So going to bed basically at 8 o'clock at night, or 30, I was up at about 3, 4 in the morning. But that boded well because I was able to actually go out and do a bunch of other stuff. So I got in, on Friday. Things were running just a few minutes behind. And I got to give a shout out to Ace Car Rental, where I got my car from. They were really, really cool, great to deal with. It was interesting because I went in, and how they are, they're not like the Hertz or Enterprise Net where they got an actual bus that picks you up to the airport. You just got to jump on a public transportation bus to go to the first stop, which takes a minute. And so it's not that big of a deal. Then they got shuttle buses there to take you to their facility. But what's interesting is when you get to the facility, go rent in, and they have like 3 service counters. People are supposed to work in there. So there's only one guy, but then they had another one set up. The guy was doing it remotely. So you just look at the screen and he's there. You talk, they got the camera, and, it was pretty straightforward and doing it. It was really cool to, kind of see that set up that way. It's like, hey, maybe they could do more of this to get more people. But anyways, it was interesting. The only kind of drawback is the one guy working inside the shop is kind of got to handle that guy's paperwork and handing stuff out, because I had to stand there for about 5 minutes and wait while he dealt with another customer that was really just ignorant to the whole process and whatnot. And so I kind of digged it. I finally got up and stood up and kind of started making a little bit of ruckus to get the guy, hey, I'd like to go. I'm good to go. I just need my keys, my thing. So, but anyways, I was supposed to just get some little crap box car. I was like, trying to go cheap. But when I got there, I was like, I need something a little bit more fun. I'm in California. And they had some Chargers out front, some brand new Chargers with the Hemis. So tons of power, tons of torque. So I just what can I get on the, jump into that? And the guy hooked me up. It wasn't that much more expensive. It was like another $70 for the 3 days. And I was like, done. And I tell you what, wise choice. If you ever have the chance to drive one, I tell you what, take one for a spin. And if you can, go for farther. I mean, I was on the highway, this thing cruising like 85. I mean, it is a outstanding highway cruising car. But, where I stayed at was up in Topanga Canyon, and going up Topanga Canyon Road, very twisty, curvy through the hill, whatnot. This thing handled phenomenal for this big car. I tell you what, this thing was great. I highly recommend it. I was almost to the point, I said, this isn't a bad car. I'm going to think my baby get one just as a daily. But anyways, so it's a little sidebar on that. Again, it's my ADD jumping in, but I just want to give a shout out to them and that Charger I rented, because that thing was cool. It was a lot of fun. Lots of fun. If you check out the YouTube channel, I'm working on, after this podcast, as I got to put the videos together, I'm going to drop all the videos I took over the weekend over there. So I got in Friday, and, got the car, just kind of did some tooling around, went and checked into my Verbo, stayed there. I got to give a shout out to Andrew and Peter, the hosts there. Great little, basically it's a she shed. There's a half bath in it. And it was kind of fun doing it this way too. It was a little bit different, I guess. There's a half bath in the she shed. It's not very big. It's got a loft bed. There's a full shower, everything in there, which is great, just a sink. But to use the bathroom, you got to go out your thing and got to walk maybe, 50 feet, if that, maybe 20, I don't know. It wasn't that far. You had to go over to the main house where the one bathroom is. If you had to, take a dump or whatnot. Now, I don't know about you, but I was getting up in the middle of the night when I had to pee. I just went in the sink. I wasn't going to get up and walk outside, especially if it was getting a little bit chilly there when I was out there, which was kind of interesting. It was getting down into the 40s. So I was like, gosh, I'm just going in the sink. Big deal. It's all pipes, right? All goes to the same place. But anyways, getting up at just kind of a shout out to them. But anyways, so I just got there and got settled in. I ran back out, ran to the grocery store, grabbed some stuff like that, just, so I have snacks, some bananas and that kind of stuff. So I had it. So since I was up the next morning, because I went to bed at 8 o'clock, I was up at 3 o'clock, and that's just like, usually when I'm at home, I go to bed at 10:30, 11, and I'm up at 5:30ish. Anyways, I go to the gym and all that crap. But anyways, so Saturday morning, I was up, kind of doing some other things and doing some posting and that stuff, trying to kill some time. But I got up and ready, so I left about 7:30ish, and the first place I wanted to go check out was West Coast Car Storage, Matt Farah's place. I don't know if you ever watch any of his stuff, the smoking tire, he's got great stuff. But anyway, so I got there, I pulled in, and just by happenstance, the doors opened up. They were bringing out a car for one of their customers, beautiful 488 Ferrari in the Bianco white. I think it was gorgeous. I'm a fan of white cars. I don't know about you guys, but anyways, came out and was parking it. So the two guys that were working there, young gentlemen, started talking to them a little bit, and they said, hey, no problem, we'll take you on a tour, which is super nice guys. Super nice guys. Again, videos will be dropping on the channel. It took me around the place, and I don't know if you've ever seen any of the videos or whatnot. If you look up Matt's page, you look at what it's at. It's a really cool setup. And I know they're getting, their plans is to build more of them, but just out in California, down in Southern Cali. Now, I wanted to talk with Matt, but he wasn't there, because my thought was, this could work anywhere. And I don't know how well you were immersed in car and whatnot and find about car storage, but it's shocking, even like where I'm at, that you would think that wouldn't be that big of a deal. It is a big problem. I know a gentleman that's got a facility not far from me, and his thing's packed to the gills with cars year round. And this is Ohio, where there's plenty of land, plenty of space, whatnot. But people just don't want that vehicle taking up space if they're only driving it once a month or whatnot, so and getting in and out. So the thought was I'd like to copy this and put one here in Cleveland somewhere, even east side and west side. I mean, because it's cool as they had a nice little like setting, clubhouse setting type deal. Wasn't huge, it's a wet bar, everything like that. He had his media room, I guess you'd call it, to do podcasts and that type of filming and that stuff. So it was really nice setup. I mean, go there, hang out, whatnot, and I'd ask them, hey, they do parties or whatnot, and I guess they're kind of getting ready to do a small one, for members and what have you. But it's really cool storage wise. How you got when you're pulling out on the main building. I guess you could say it's above ground. They got 6 rack, stackers there to stack your cars, and they're kind of. Some sides it's like 2 deep, and they said it only takes like 10 minutes to get a car. Even if it's like a back all the way up top and back corner, it only takes about 10 minutes to get a car out. So it's really easy and simple. It's climate controlled, everything like that. So check it out. It's really cool. It's a really cool place. Then after that, I took a tool around, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go check out Singer and see if I can find something. Now I Google mapped it, and I got out there, and I tell you what. No clue. I couldn't find it. It was just walls and whatnot. So there was no indication anything that Singer was right where it was at. So I kind of struck out there. And besides, on the website, they say that they don't give out tours or anything unless you actually are physically ordering a car. And I wasn't physically ordering a car at that time, and nor do I have that kind of money to be able to afford a Singer. So the next stop was actually Jay Leno's garage was actually just about 5 minutes from there. So I went over to Jay's place to see if I could maybe catch some action going on, and maybe just by luck stumble in and maybe get a walk around tour, have Jay show around maybe like that. But again, nothing going on. Gates all closed up and whatnot. Now there were 3 reliable car carrier trucks parked out on his street. So I don't know if they were there to pick up cars for Jay to take to Amelia Island, or they're dropping off or what. But maybe I should have hung out a little bit longer because someone was going to have to show up eventually, because that was the only place there on that street that those cars would have anything to do with. So, again, I don't know what they were doing or if they were picking up or whatnot. So, who knows? But after that, I kind of struck out anywhere else I kind of wanted to go, so I just went back to my place, hung out for about an hour, and then I headed to the Peterson. Now, what they had going on was really cool. It was very limited to how many people could go. Now, you got to the Peterson, you checked in. Now, you were able to go in with, be able to do this is you got to go into the Peterson, check out and walk around. I got some awesome videos of the Peterson that I'll put up, walking around and everything. And again, I highly, highly recommend if you're ever in that area, or even with a couple hours, or you're making a trip just for that, go there, check out the main floor, but definitely go check out the vault. Now, they don't let you take really any media or do anything like that unless you have permission. So I wasn't able to get anything. I didn't want to get kicked out because it was before we were going on our tour. So. But anyway, so I got that stuff. But first stop we went to was Bruce Meyer's private collection. Now, if those of you in the know who Bruce Meyer is, you know who he is and what he does and his, I guess, participation. I would say what his role is or how he plays. He's a founding member of the Peterson Museum. He's on the board. But he really doesn't, he doesn't have a ton of cars, but the cars he has are phenomenal. And he doesn't allow just anybody to come look. You got to get invited. You got to get invited personally by him. So we went there first, and if where this is at, it's not really. It's like by Wilshire, I want to say not downtown Beverly Hills, but kind of adjacent, whatnot. But if you were driving down the street, you would have no idea up on the second floor that this collection was up there. I mean, you can't tell. It's not like you can even see through windows from the outside or anything like that. So you go up on the second floor because it's above a restaurant. I felt bad for these people that were eating because we were kind of standing out there, a bunch of us waiting to go up, someone to show us where it's at. So we finally get up there. And what's really cool is as you walk in, you're kind of up high, and it overlooks everything, his whole collection, the whole 9 yards. And basically the first thing that your eyes gravitate to is the 250 Testarossa sitting in the corner that John von Neumann used to own. And then there's one of the original Yellowbirds parked right there. And then there's a Bentley parked right there, Bentley blower. Then there's a Bugatti back over on the elevator. But then as you kind of step in more, you start seeing some others tucked away. He had you saw the Briggs Cunningham Vet, but then you saw the Bizzarini that he does, his 250 SWB standing there. Just phenomenal stuff. And then it's cool then you come down the stairs to go in and check out the facility, and like off, when you get down to that level there, there's kind of railing and whatnot. Like I said, you'll be able to see this in the video. But off the left, it's got a nice seating area, couch seats and whatnot. Then past that, there's like a dining room table. You can sit a few people at, about 6 or 7 people and stuff like that. And then off to the left, he's got his little kitchenette. Now, there's no stove or nothing, but it's got the fridge and all that stuff. Want to make cocktails. And then along that whole wall, and then he's got all his memorabilia. He's got all the trophies he's won, everything from all the things, events he's entered, like Pebble Beach and all that jazz. But tons of literature, books, everything. He's got all these cool models and some helmets and that. Just all, little trinkets and stuff that he has here and there and everything like that. But there's some cool stuff hanging on the wall. He's got this miniature, I'd say is maybe 1/8 scale, maybe 1/10 scale of an old midget racer from the 50s up on the wall. And I didn't get a chance to ask him, but looking at it, you would swear to think it probably does have a motor in it. But anyways, then you come down, you got some, you go down a couple steps, and then you're out on the floor. Now, mind you, what this guy has and what he does. But like I said, since we're talking Ferraris, we'll get into specifics. I mean, like I said, he had these other cars there. But the big one was that 250 Testarossa. It's up on a pedestal, and this thing was absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. I mean, this thing, and how it's got stuff, because you don't have cars all crammed into this place. He's got them strategically placed throughout the, showroom. I don't know what the heck you want, kids' clubhouse. So obviously there's plenty of room, so you get plenty of pictures and everything. And again, that was the other beauty of it too. Normally you're not allowed to take pictures or video, but he allowed me to do that, so which was phenomenal. So checked out his Testarossa, and then I went over to his 250 GT SWB. This thing was absolutely stunning also. It was great. The windows down, so you could kind of reach in, lean in, look at everything, check things out. Just super, super cool. So going around, like I said, but what was really cool is right next to that was the Bizzarini that those of you know, he was actually involved in designing the 250 GTO. Now, it's said that the evolution, if it would have kept going, if due to regulation and stuff, it would have kind of maintained it. The Bizzarini design that he did for this probably would have been the next evolution of the GTO. Lower, wider, just more aggressive looking. So people say that if he would have stayed there, but he left during the Palace Revolt, that's probably what the next step would have been. That step in evolution of the car would have been that. Now, other cars he has there, he's got the Corvette winning, the Le Mans winning Corvette from back. I think it's what Johnny O'Connell and those guys drove, but he's got that and still has all the dirt, the grime, everything on it, the whole 9 yards, just as it was when it left there. So he has that. Go around, he's got the Briggs Cunningham Corvette. He's got this really cool Mercedes Cabriolet that used to be owned by Clark Gable. And everything's to the nines of this place, too. I mean, just absolutely spotless. And, he's got, another, Porsche race car there, but he had this really cool, Kremer Porsche that used to be owned by the infamous Whittington brothers. Now, those of you in the know the Whittington's background, and they were probably the largest pot smugglers back in the day, and that's how they made all their money. And they would actually, they owned Atlanta Motor Raceway, not the oval, but the track that is now, Raceway Park, whatever the hell it's called again, where they do the Petit Le Mans. Can't think of the top of my head. But anyways, they used to land there and whatnot, bring stuff in and all that stuff. But anyways, after that thing was, it had been for many, many years in the hands of the DEA and whatnot, but it finally got out. So anyways, funny story was, Bruce ended up acquiring the vehicle. And he's immediately sent it off to get all refurbished, whatnot, because he drives his cars, races them, whatnot, at all types of events. So anyways, he had taken up to Laguna Seca then for like his first outing in the car. Well, a bunch of his buddies decided to play a joke on him. And they went all out. I mean, they didn't pull no punches, that's for sure. They had these guys come up. There's like, look up the video online. It's hilarious. Because they had these guys dressed up as DEA people, came in legit with paperwork, whole 9 yards, saying they're confiscating the car due to legal ramification because of the blah, 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 all that stuff, because of the Whittington history and that stuff, and there was still problems or some kind of stuff. So they actually had a flatbed, everything, come, take the car. But it's funny, Bruce actually even helped them push the car up onto the flatbed. And you could just see this distraught look in his face, like he's freaking out, like, well, okay, what do I do? This and that. Who's the first call? So they got it loaded up, and he's kind of like, who do I need to call so-and-so. And everyone's playing along, and everyone's in on the joke except Bruce. So finally, is it just about to round the corner to leave? They let him in on the joke that, hey, sorry, this is just a nice big old prank. Oh my God, it was too funny. You should see the look of just relief on his face. I highly recommend looking it up. But also, he's got some cool hot rods. He's got a lot of the SoCal Speed Shop stuff. He's got the original belly tank racer. He's got the hot rods, but he's also got a really nice collection of motorcycles, which I was not aware of. I said I got a couple pictures posted up, but it's really, really cool what he's got there. You know, a lot of old flat track stuff. He's got a couple cool Harleys, cafe racers, the flat trackers, XR50, 750s. So check out the stuff when you go online. You know, check out my Instagram. You know, I post a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, but I said I'll have the videos up and they'll all be on there. But one really cool thing I saw, it was kind of tucked away. He had a set or pair of Evel Knievel's old leathers, the dark blue ones, not the white with the blue. It was the solid blue with the white. So that was really cool too. So, but again, awesome collection. You got to check out the videos for that. So now after that, we were able to go up to David Sydorick's house and check out what he has. Now, this wasn't, again, these guys don't have hundreds and hundreds of cars. It ain't nothing like that. They got, it's a select few, but they all have some meaning and whatnot. Now, what was interesting about going to Sydorick's house, he lives up in Beverly Park. This is up in the hills, way up in the hills, and it's in a gated community. And basically, Denzel Washington lives back in there. Magic Johnson has a house back in there he lives. So that kind of gives you the residents of this area and who his neighbors are. So we go in all the way into the back, and again, look for video because his house is like unbelievable, and the view out the back is absolutely just breathtaking. But anyway, so you come up his driveway, and he's a huge Zagato fan. And it's, you know, what he had was unbelievable as, I guess, say, collection-wise in what he's acquired. It's just crazy stuff. Now, so as soon as you go in, and he kind of had the stuff parked out and whatnot. So first thing you kind of catch your eye because it's straight ahead, and is that he's got a DB4 Zagato parked there. And it's just, I mean, absolutely stunning. But then off to the left, since we're talking, you know, basically about Ferraris, he had the Ferrari 250 GT Zagato, and he's had it for about 20 years. And I say this thing was spotless. And what was cool about it, you know, as I'll talk about, is, you know, he took this the next day to the Ferrari event. It was at the Peterson. He drove it there. So as I said, not some trailer queen. Now, obviously, if he's going to take it to Florida or something like that, he's going to put it on a trailer. He's not going to be driving this thing down the, you know, the 405 or anything like that. But this thing's stunning with the blue, with the whitest top. You know, not convertible, but you know the I guess you call it the greenhouse, whatnot. You know, it's got the double bubble to it, and with the white on it, it's just absolutely stunning. It's got this like light blue interior. It's stunning. But what's really cool is on the gear selector on the top, on the ball or whatever you want to call it, on there, the numbers are in Roman numerals. So it's not like 1, 2, but it's really neat. And it's just that, what you might call it, that Bakelite that thing was made out. But it is super cool. And, I mean, again, check out the Ferrari. Check them out, the video I got. It's on the, look for the YouTube channel, you know, the Ferrari Marketplace. I'll have it up on there. It's really nice. I get a little more details of it. Just absolutely stunning. Now, he had some other, you know, I guess because Italianettes got it, you know, he had a couple of the Alpha. He had the Alpha Disco Volante that they did. Now, it wasn't a running one. It was just a model. No motor, nothing like that. But you swear you look at it, you swear that thing you just pull out, just go for a drive. And he had an old TZ there, too. Now, one thing was cool is he had the, was it the DB7 Zagato? But he also had the body buck for it, and which was crazy. You know, parked in the garage, he's got the car, but then he's got the body buck they used to make the car. So that was pretty cool. But the one thing that was, I guess there's actually two other things that were a little bit of surprise and like, okay. He had the, from 2014, he had the bobsled from the American bobsled team that was made by BMW. He had it in his living room. Now, how cool is that? He had the actual bobsled that BMW made. I think they only made 3 of them, 2. So how he got it, God only knows. But the other thing that he had, then this story is kind of humorous, but this is what tells you when people got a lot more money than they know what to do with. He had an actual gondola from Venice, an actual gondola. And the background story was, he was telling me, him and his wife were on vacation. They were in Venice, and it was his wife's birthday, and she made the comment about the gondola, how much she loved it. She thought it was fantastic. So he cut away at one day and went downstairs and talked to whoever was at the front or whatnot. He says, take me where they build these. Take me he wants to buy one. So he ends up going, and so not really build one from scratch. There was one there that they were refurbishing. So he ends up getting that, buying that, getting it refurbished over, I think it took a year or something like that. It took an unbelievable amount of time. Got it shipped over and has it in his garage as a present to his wife. So it'll never be back in the water again or anything like that. But he buys a gondola for his wife as a birthday present just to have. And it's in the garage. And I said, check out the video. It's on there. It just like makes you scratch your head. It's like, why? And I guess when he first got it, they, took it to an event somewhere down there in Beverly Hills or whatever, and just people were like, what? Dropped it. This thing's huge. It's got to be about 40, 50 feet long, maybe longer. It's huge. It is massive. And the craftsmanship went down. It's just gorgeous. So, hey, check out the video. But that's about all I got regarding that trip. Well, no, I'm sorry. I need to talk about the second day, on Sunday, the event at the Peterson. Totally forgot. Shoo! Again, I looked at my notes, got back to me. So on Sunday, what I had done was, again, being up early. Now, I'd gone online, and now out in Malibu, they got the Cars and Coffee, the infamous Cars and Coffees in Malibu. Now, I don't know, for those of you who know how it kind of works, there was the, I guess, rogue one that was in the one plaza. It wasn't sanctioned. No one organized it, whatnot. People were just showing up, whatnot. But all the businesses in that plaza were getting super, super pissed off because they were taking up all the spots, just creating commotion, loud noise, and whatnot. And there's a few restaurants in there. None of their patrons had any places to park. They kept complaining and whatnot, so they kind of like about kicking them out. And they even had where they had put signs that says no car, event park, blah blah. And people drive up, they just move them. So the one gentleman by the name of Armando, super nice guy, got with the city and said, hey, let's do this right. Let's organize this, and we have this sanctioned by the city, everything like that. And so what they do is they have it at the Malibu Bluffs. And you want to probably talk the most expensive land to have a public park on because it's right on the ocean. You come out to PCH, make a left, ocean, and then you got the park. Volleyball courts, space, whatnot. So that land's got to be worth, I don't know, $400 million, something crazy, if not more. But anyway, so the event's there. So it's supposed to start at 7 to 9. And now I'd read online and talked to a few people and said, people usually start showing up around 6:15, 6:30 because it gets so busy. Anyway, so since I was up, I got there about 6:15. I was the first one there. And so I'm sitting there waiting, going, okay, so all of a sudden, probably after about 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes, guy pulls in with the trailer and to get set up because he's there on the request of Armando, the guy putting it on. And he's got an old Indy Lights car, 93 Lola. So I started talking to him. I helped him unload. He got that stuff. So cars started rolling, casually coming in. Again, check out the video on the YouTube channel. Now this one, it'll probably be on the Ferrari Marketplace channel, but also might be on my other one, 65 Motorsports, so channel 65. Now, if you look that up, it's the word 60 spelled out, then the number 5 Motorsports. Look that up. But I say you also be able to check it on the Ferrari Marketplace site. I'll put it on that one too. I'm kind of trying to keep stuff differentiated. I don't want to have a lot of clutter, non-Ferrari stuff on the Ferrari Marketplace, but in the beginning here, get things up and going. I'm going to have them on both. But anyways, I get there, and they had some cool stuff show up. They had some really old, like an old Diablo, an old Murcielago, both 6-speed show up. It was really cool. There's some older Ferraris, some 308s, 328s, stuff like that. 355 showed up. Nothing crazy, nothing good, but had some older stuff that showed up. Had a gorgeous Z8. That's one of my favorite cars, the BMW Z8. But it had some really stuff. But this one guy showed up in this sweet Alpha. It was a 73 1600. And what was interesting about it, the body basically in raw metal, just beat up, whatnot, rough, just patina galore. I mean, this thing was so sweet, but everything underneath the interior was already done. So basically, resto mod, or done up how what's her name does it. What the hell's his name? Does the start out with the trucks, but anyways, Jonathan Ward's place. It's got the lizard. I can't think of the name off the top of my head again. Over top. But anyways, so there's a lot of cool stuff. Like I said, check it out. I got the videos, stuff like that. So now as I left, and what's interesting, up and down the PCH, all you hear is cars going, screaming past, whatnot. There's like, you get groups of like 5, 6, 7 of them all together, just flying around. And so like I left, so I'm going to go down and stop this other one real quick, just see if it's got anybody there, because those people there, they got money, so they just ignore the rules. They don't think they apply to them. So I got there, and going down there, which is not even half a mile away. The amount of cops I saw that was on the PCH and whatnot, so I don't know how many people might have got tickets. But anyways, so I got on there and go through there. Seeing a 918 Porsche going through, dressed up in the Martini livery, some Lamborghinis, McLarens, stuff like that. A lot of Porsches, everything like that. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. I just kind of pulled through there. I had to stop and get gas. And I don't know if you live in California, but gas out there is just insane. Probably today, it's probably over $6, because I know it was pushing almost $5.50 to $6 when I was out there. So anyways, I left there, and I headed to the Peterson for the Ferrari event. Now, this is really cool. It was all Ferraris, put on the Southwest Ferrari Owner Club. Shout out to Peter Lund, great guy. Talked with him a bunch before this event. But anyway, so you get there, and basically it's on the top 2 floors of the parking garage, just all Ferrari. So you go and you park. Now, I get in, and I start all the way up to the top, and just kind of go around, and you're at a Ferrari event, but what do you see? Gorgeous Lamborghini Countach, white on white. But anyways, go down, you got your, standard 488s, 458s, 812s, and a TDF up there. Some cool stuff, nothing mind-blowing, but, stuff is, once you start seeing the group, it's like, okay, there's just a ton of red. Now, I went to the edge. Now, I was on the 5th floor. So the 4th floor, where was the main thing was at. And what's really cool how they have their garage set up is, it's not completely, covered. On the top floor, it's only about half of what the park is. So you have this open area. So actually on the 4th floor, it's still outdoors. You're not undercover. But if it happened to rain, like God, like it does so much in LA, you can move everything underneath. But anyways, so go down to that floor, and then I started looking around, and God, you not believe. I mean, there's obviously just tons of red. But, everything from Dino's, going on down the line. You had stuff from the 50s. You had Tom Wilson had his 250 GTE there. Tom's a real nice guy. If you got to look him up, he's got the 250 GT registry. So he runs that with some other people. But going around, it said it was just, obviously a majority was newer stuff. Not so much of the older stuff, but you had the older stuff mixed in because people would come, just pulling in there. A lot of 360s. Now, I was a little surprised, though, on some of the older stuff, like on 360 or any of the 430s, that I didn't see one manual. They were all the F1 transmission. It was really odd, which I couldn't figure out. Which, just sidebar, I took a blast earlier this morning in a 360 Spider 6-speed. I had some fun with that this morning. Buddy of mine's got this thing up. But anyways, that thing was a blast, already done. So I'm thinking about buying it. So I'm on the fence. When I go down to Amelia Island, I'm making a pit stop in Atlanta because there's a coupe that's there. But I need to pause this for 1 second. And I'm back. Sorry about that. My daughter came home from school, and the dog started barking, so I figured I'd just pause it real quick. But anyways, back to where I was at. Going around the 4th floor at the Peterson Ferrari event. Now, like I was saying, majority of the cars, 85, 90%, were all, newer stuff. Your 458s, 488s, stuff like that. Your 812s, stuff along those lines. A lot of Californias going on. But what was really cool, David Lee had brought some of his cars with the collection. Now, I was under the impression he always had just newer stuff. I didn't realize he had a bunch of older stuff. So he had some really, really cool older stuff. I said I got pictures in the video up there, so I definitely check it out. But, I was impressed by that. I thought it was just the newer stuff like that. So, and then David brought his Zagato 250 GT. He had it there, and I got some quick video of it running. I'm not sure if I'll be able to squeeze it. I'm trying to squeeze it on the length video, but got some shots of that running. There's this beautiful black Enzo there. Few F40s, got some cool shots of that. So I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff. So check out the video. Like I said, getting the hang of this. So the video is probably not the best. Am I talking and whatnot? So I don't know how well you can hear me or anything like that because there's music playing in the background. But go and check it out on the YouTube channel and. Worst case, I'll try and figure it out if I can. I should be able to pretty easily. I'll put the links on my the webpage, theferrarimarketplace.com. So, but anyways, that kind of wrapped up that. Got stuff because it was over by around 12:30, 1 o'clock, roughly like that. Now, I was supposed to go over to this Porsche LA Lit event that Stoddard was putting on. I don't know if you're familiar with Porsche stuff, but Stoddard's a big seller of Porsche, classic Porsche parts. They're here in the Cleveland area over on the east side. They used to have a dealership they sold, so now they just focus on the parts. And they do a lot of cool events. Now, I was supposed to go to that because it was just more, I want to say, memorabilia, literature, that kind of stuff. So it really wasn't cars, but there probably were some there. But it was my last day there, and it was about 78 degrees out. Sun was out. I'm like, nah, you know what? I'm just going to bail on that and go hang out in Santa Monica and see what I can see. So I saw some cool stuff drive around there, just hanging out, had some lunch. But anyways, to wrap this up, that's kind of going over what it is. Like I said, check out the video, kind of you can see what I was talking about. It's really worth it at the time. Like I said, just if you need to, just ignore me, put it on mute, and you can see the cars. But anyways, I appreciate you guys listening. Like I said, I'm headed to Amelia Island tomorrow. So I'm going to have a lot more stuff to talk about. The next podcast is about how Amelia Island went. I'm going to hit the two. I got the Gooding and RM Sotheby's auctions I'm going to hit. There's some interesting cars there that are going to be up. There's a 2006 F430 gated manual, black on black, that's going to go up. And they're saying in between $300 to $400 what they're estimating it to be at. So I'm really curious to see what that goes for because this is going to kind of set up the market for where these manuals are headed. Now, so there's a bunch of other cool, nice Ferraris that are going to be going up. So I'm going to get that stuff, and we can talk about that, where they were at, estimated what they sold for, everything along those lines. So if you want, take a look at Sotheby's and Gooding's sites. You can see what I'm talking about beforehand. So then, obviously, Saturday they got this really cool stuff going on that's $10 to go to, and basically all the cars that are at the concourse on Sunday will usually be at these. So, and then Sunday, obviously, is the concourse event itself. So, I'll have a lot of stuff from that. Tons of video that'll be going up from that. I'm going to try and get as much as I can, just blow it up. And like I said, next week, I will have the next episode, and we'll talk about Amelia Island. Again, guys, I really, really appreciate you listening. I really appreciate your patience. And again, hey, I'm just getting the hang of this, so please be patient. More to come. Any ideas, thoughts, hey, just shoot me an email, william@theferrarimarketplace.com. Let me know your thoughts, ways, any help would be greatly appreciated too on this. Anything like that. Hey, I'm all ears. So anyways, just wrapping it up. I appreciate you guys listening, and we will talk soon. Have a good one.
This episode has been brought to you by Grand Touring Motorsports as part of our Motoring Podcast Network. For more episodes like this, tune in each week for more exciting and educational content from organizations like the Exotic Car Marketplace, the Motoring Historian, Break Fix, and many others. If you'd like to support Grand Touring Motorsports and the Motoring Podcast Network, sign up for one of our many sponsorship tiers at www.patreon.com/GT Motorsports. Please note that the content, opinions, and materials presented and expressed in this episode are those of its creator, and this episode has been published with their consent. If you have any inquiries about this program, please contact the creators of this episode via email or social media as mentioned in the episode.